This video is going to discuss the new artifact that we are getting with Renegades and all the artifact mods, their descriptions and what they do. Unfortunately, I do not have any unique Renegades footage of my own to show you. I have not had chance of that holiday. The King of the North I'm not deserved to have the holiday. I only study and cook. As you can see, I've been just recently studying with this book behind me and studying the ways of the Warlock and dark magics and stuff like this. My video today was going to be some sort of solo pure strand Warlock video revolving around Matiodoxy. It's getting massive buffs. But we'll maybe do that tomorrow if a lot of you want that. We can do some solo with some Matiodoxy and stuff with pure strand Warlock and Osteostrigger and stuff like that, because a lot of these items are getting buffed. But for this video, I want to focus on the artifact because I didn't realise that Bungie would release the full artifact mod list in their TWAB, and they did that. So we're just going to purely cover the artifact today, nothing else other than that, and some, discussions revolving around it. So I'm going to break it down through these images. I'm going to go row by row, not column by column, because it's just easier for my editing purposes to do it in that way. So we've got column 1, top row, being anti-barrier hand cannon. Stuns barrier champions, we know this. Column 2, top row, is impact shock gravity. Grants access to the helmet mods, kinetic void siphon and kinetic arc siphon. These mods combine 2 elemental siphons at a discounted cost. This has always been the case for the most part for recent artifacts of recent seasons, for that particular column to have a siphon mod, right? So that's nothing out of the ordinary. Column 3, top row, press the advantage. Breaking a combatant shield grants increased weapon stability, handling and reload speed. Swords gain increased guard resistance. We have seen this artifact mod in the past. Nothing too dramatic about that one. Column 4, top row, dielectric. Defeat Narc debuffed targets grants bolt charge, rapidly defeat Narc debuffed target, spawns an orb of power and heals a small portion of your health. I'm immediately thinking Getaway Artists, Arc Soul, because when you're jolting targets, they are arc debuffed. Ionic Sentry, Stormtrance Warlocks, because Stormtrance getting a massive buff. Case Reach is getting a buff as well. I'm thinking a lot of Warlock with that one. Although arc debuff does exist on the Titan and Hunter as well, let's not forget that. That's a very good mod, that one is, that dielectric. Column 5, top row. Elemental Orbs Arc. Arc weapon final blows have a chance to spawn a arc elemental orb. Arc orbs can be thrown or shot to create an arc explosion that jolts targets if damages. Jolt is a arc debuff, so if you get that orb and throw it, you will proc dielectric. There you go. Now we're on to the next row. So column 1, row 2, anti-barrier sniper rifle. That's going to be very nice for New Land Beyond, the new Heavy Bolt, Legendary Sniper, the Star Wars one. You've got Icebreaker. Yeah, you've got a few snipers in the game that are actually really good. There's some snipers that are terrible, but there's some that are amazing. I always like a barrier sniper when it comes up. For Grandmaster combatant player, we like it. Alright, column 2, row 2, Gravitic Voltaic Charge. When you have an Arc or Void super equipped, increase the maximum number of stacks of armor charges you can now carry by 1. That's quite nice for when we're Solar Force Dungeon. It means you're going to get another block of DPS for surges, maybe more fonts. You got a longevity of more font gameplay, grenade fonts, melee fonts. That's actually good. That's actually a very good one. That's better than what it sounds. Like from when I'm looking at it from a distance, I'm like, yeah, that's actually nice. Because it means you can still run resistance and have 4 blocks of armor charge rather than 3. Next, kinetic weapon damage. Oh, what's the name of it? Sorry. Kinetic synthesis. This is a big one. Sustained kinetic weapon damage and rapid fire blows have a chance to generate a unique ammo brick. Collecting this brick will grant ammo to equipped kinetic damage weapons and grant special and heavy ammo progress. So, Bungie's bringing back grey ammo bricks, but for the purpose of that mod. primary ammos will still be infinite primary ammo. The question that I have is that, say I'm using Osseous Trigger and I pick up the grey ammo brick, is it going to give it the damage bonus? Collecting this ammo will grant equipped kinetic weapon damage, kinetic damage weapons, and grant special and heavy ammo progress. They specifically say kinetic weapons that do damage. So it doesn't just have to be a kinetic special. I believe it can be a kinetic primary as well. They've worded it in such a way that it can be confusion. But I believe it should proc with a kinetic primary. I don't have no reason that it wouldn't. Remember, kinetic primaries are still infinite ammo, right? Next, Armor Smith. Breaking a combatant shield temporarily grants you damage resistance and increased melee damage. Boom, that's huge. Depending on how many shields there are in some of the activities, for that to proc, right, that's kind of like Shield Crush, like what we've got now, but in a different way. It's kind of like Shield Crush. I don't know the percentages of it. I'm just saying that it's proccing via shields, and it's giving us a melee damage buff. Getting a melee damage buff is always nice, especially with all the melee builds. Kinetic Rupture. Column 5, row 2. Kinetic weapon damage against a powerful combatant has a chance to create a kinetic rupture. Targeting this rupture causes a damaging explosion that staggers combatants strong against unstoppable champions. It stuns unstops this. We are looking at some legendary primaries being very good with kinetic tremors. We are in a kinetic tremor meta already. We're gonna be in more of a kinetic tremor meta. Kinetic tremors is gonna be king. It already is king. It's gonna be even more king. However, it's not just that. Imagine using Osseous Trigger like the weapon you see here, where we do poison damage. That should proc this perk in a unique way. Outbreak perfected with its nanites. We can go on and on and on. That kinetic rupture is going to be a meta-defining artifact mod. That's going to define how you play. Kinetic rupture. Best mod we've mentioned so far. And the grey ammo brick one as well. Okay, next row. Column 1, Overload Pulse Rifle. Depends how many overloads we're up against. I'll be honest, the game nowadays is always barrier unstop. You check the portal. 90% of the things in the portal are barrier unstoppable champions. It's very rare we fight overloads these days. So I'm not really thinking about that much at all. You know, we've got a couple of good pulse rifles in the game at the minute. But yeah, I guess that's nice. It's not too bad. Expert Handling. Weapon final blows grant a stack and bonus to stability, which resets on weapon reload or stored weapons. Swords gain guard resistance. We've seen little artifact mods like this, not too impressive to be honest. Reload at range. Precision hits with bows and sniper rifles grant a stack and bonus to their reload speed. Depends how much, but that will be nice for sniper rifle gameplay. You will be doing a lot of sniper rifle gameplay in actual fact, especially with that heavy one. That heavy Star Wars one, you will be using it. Counter energy. When you or a member of your fire team stuns a champion, you gain energy for your least charge ability. We've seen this one time and time again for 5-6 years. It's a decent mod actually though. It does work nicely in neutral gameplay background. It does proc a lot, especially when you're doing solo Grandmaster Nightfalls, which we're going to be getting back. Yeah, so that's a good mod for solo GM play. I've used that mod countless times over the years. Column 5, Sniper's Meditation. I've seen this one before as well. Sniper rifle hits grants stacking sniper rifle damage, stability and reload. Bonus for a short time. Heavy ammo sniper rifle hits count as more than one hit. Sniper's Meditation's been amazing in the past. I've used it with Izanagi's Burden. We've used it with Whisper of the Worm. I've used it with so many different things. That Sniper's Meditation mod is going to be such a good thing. Are we going to be like doing lots of DPS with snipers? That's the question mark, right? Because some snipers are amazing, some snipers are terrible. We're sort of in a weird ground with snipers in PvE. Some are amazing though, and Izanagi's Burn's getting a buff as well. We've mentioned this in the past. Okay, so we've got the next row, Overload SMG. This is important for this reason here. I've got Osseous Trigger on screen. If you don't remember when Osseous Trigger was meta, which Osseous getting a buff by the way, it's only a slight buff, but it is getting one. we had Overload SMG up, and this weapon's king for Overload champions. It's amazing. So we're going to be able to use Osteo with the OG Overload SMG. There's many other SMGs in the game, I'm just pointing it out. Let's come out of that menu in a minute. Next, column 2, fastest draw, is the first shot shortly after reloading or already in your weapon is a precision hit, gain flinch resistance. Getting a bit of flinch resistance, we don't care about that in PvE. That's more PvP, flinch resistance. They're talking about flinch. They're not talking about damage resist here. Repost. Shortly after guarding with a sword, your light and heavy attacks stun unshielded combatants strong against unstoppable champions. Boom. That's unstoppable sword. You're going to stun champions, unstoppable champions with swords. Especially Praxic Blade. Remember, Praxic Blade's going to work with those kinetic perks I was on about as well. Because kinetic weapon. Kinetic sword. All these artifact mods are playing into the Praxic Blade. A lot of them are. Here's the next ones. Combination Argent Blade. Briefly pause after executing a light attack, then follow it up with a light or heavy attack to empower your sword for a short time, granting it bonus damage and charge rate. I'm telling you, that Praxic Blade's going to be very good in the game. The Bungie are very intentionally giving you artifact mods catered to a kinetic sword. All the mods are kinetic sword, and Praxic Blade is a kinetic weapon. And you can add Sever to it and stuff like this. Right, column 5. Sword Storm combo. Performing 3 sword light attacks, followed by a heavy attack, summons penumbral blades that surround you to damage and disorienting combatants. Sword final blows extend the duration of these penumbral blades. Man, if we get a dungeon boss that's sword friendly from the Equilibrium dungeon, I can already tell you that swords are going to be really fire on that boss. If it's a CQC boss, I don't know. Either way, I haven't seen. I don't know that information. But I'm putting things in my brain on the pictures of what that sword damage would be like. There's a lot of sword stuff going on with this, right? And finally, the final row, Unstoppable Bow. This is the only unstoppable primary trait we've got. We are getting Unstoppable Sword though. Crossbows and bows that have been fully drawn for a short time find a powerful explosive payload that stuns unshielded combatants. Yeah, the general stuff. Elemental Siphon, rapid final blows with a kinetic weapon or a kinetic matching your equipped super. Create an elemental pickup that matches your equipped super. We've actually had this season and it's a nice mod. Sort of similar to like elemental coalescence type things. We like elemental pickups now in the game actually. They're nice additive to builds. They're like a little cherry on the top of a cake sometimes. That's how I think about that mod. I like Elemental Siphon. I often use it. I often use those styles of mods. Power from Pain. Rapid final blows against weakened combatants grant you Devour. Boom. Look at that. Rapid final blows against weakened. So how do we weaken? Boom. Next column goes into it. Next one. Singularity Blade. While you have a Void Elemental buff, melee, and sword hits weaken targets, while melee and sword final blows create a weaken and burst. That's going to play into Power from Pain. So you're going to be able to add Devour with that sword hit, right? It's going to weaken, but we're going to be weaken targets and stuff. The next mod plays into those two. Void Infestation. Defeating a weakened target spawns a tracking projectile that weakens other targets. There's going to be this weakening effect. To note about the Void Elemental buff, that will be Void Overshield. So Void Overshield, Hunter's getting the boots that are going to give you Void Overshield. So I can already see a lot of stuff going on with that. Plus the rework and Sentinel, Void Titan, and so on and so forth. Void Warlock's actually really nice at the minute. But there's going to be a lot of interactions there with the Void buff and sword weakening, plus getting a damage bonus from the other sword buffs mentioned, like Argent Blade and the Sword Storm combo. And if you don't know with D2, debuffs and buffs stack to make incredible amounts of damage, right? Stack that with surges, stack that with builds. Yeah, we're in for a very interesting meta. Strongholds Titans is going to be very good with Praxic Fireblade. Plus, you could use the Stronghold Titan on a Sentinel and take advantage of the weakening from the mods Yeah, although you can't pick all of these, remember that. But you're going to be able to take advantage and cherry pick certain things of the artifact mods to suit you. Plus, the Praxic Blade is a kinetic sword, which is going to take advantage of those bricks. Yeah, and it's all driven. The sandbox is all driven to that sword, really. I feel as though the artifact mods are looking to be very interesting. The kinetic ruptures as well, right? There's going to be different combinations that we think about that. This is my speciality. That's why I'm talking about the artifact mods at length. This is very detailed breakdown of what I can give you. Like I say, I haven't got all the information to hand about Renegades because I haven't got all the unique content, but I am just really telling you that what I think about each mod and how it's going to play. And that's what part of our content is. The meat and bones of the content is that discovering all the hidden diamonds amongst all the artifact mods with the build crafting and using off-meta builds to synergize different things to make maybe weaker builds better than what they should be, or very powerful builds even more powerful, and all this sort of stuff. Long story short, there's going to be a lot of arc and void stuff, snipers and swords, a lot of weakening and a lot of devour. That damn void hunter, hunter build with the void overshield is going to be a hell of a lot better than you think. However, the hunter's getting a lot of other things that's good about it, right? So there's going to be lots of different interactions here. At face value, the artifact mods look very good. I don't really have any complaints about it in actual fact. So that's just my first look at the artifact mods. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.